Learn my 5 steps on offering creative financing to motivated sellers. Guys, it's Rick Ginn with Flip with Rick, and you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, smash that like button if you want to continue to hear the absolute best free wholesaling information right here on Flip with Rick. Creative financing. So Rick, I thought we're talking about wholesaling. Yes, we are talking about wholesaling. So when we go out and market, we look for high equity deals. That's what we're targeting for. When you're out there trying to find high equity deals, you will come across deals that have excellent opportunities for creative financing. To be frank with you, you don't even have to go out and hunt for creative financing. You can find it in your normal high equity deals. So don't change the type of marketing you're doing. I'm just giving you another tool in your tool belt to be able to take down any real estate deal, especially with creative financing. So let's get started. Here are the 5 simple steps I use in my business for actually the last 18 years, and you can just duplicate it. So to be clear, you want to keep this simple. People overcomplicate creative financing. So let's get into it. Always offer your wholesale cash price first. Never, ever jump into creative financing first, because it will put you in a terrible position. So let me explain. You walk through, if you're offering 60, 70 cents on the dollar, like whatever your cash price is, and it's going to make money, then I tell you to always take that deal down. You have the ability to add creative financing to a wholesale deal, but if you offer creative financing first, you will never, ever be able to turn that into a wholesale deal. So step number 1, always offer your cash offer first. Then that will allow you to offer a creative financing solution if the cash offer is not a good fit. What you're doing is you're walking them down a funnel, and you want to start with the easiest path to getting a deal, which is a cash offer. Now, a lot of people say, that's not going to work for me. That's fine. You've opened that door. You're going to explore it a little bit more, but this will walk them down the funnel. Always start with your cash offer first. You cannot do it the other way around. So number 1, cash offer. So step number 2, when you offer a creative financing offer, it should be the only logical offer to your motivated seller. This is what I mean by that, is if they're truly a motivated seller and they owe too much on the property, or they have to pull money out at the closing, or maybe they're behind on payments, then your creative financing solution, it should be a natural fit. It doesn't mean they're going to do it, but it should be a natural fit. So if they only have like 5 or 10% equity and there's 12% in closing costs with closing fees and a realtor, and there's room to make a creative financing deal, it should naturally fit. Yes, you can creative financing deal, but it's usually there. It's just a matter if your motivated seller is going to take your offer, and 9 times out of 10, it's a confidence that you can actually do what you say you're going to do. So we've offered them a cash offer. They say there's not a lot of equity in their house, that they're going to have to pay at closing if they use a traditional realtor. So now you've offered a creative financing offer that makes sense. Now, the offer should be in your head first when you're talking about it. Don't worry, you have time. You can actually go back and do a follow-up appointment or call them on the phone and go, listen, I got this great idea. That's where you go in the creative offer financing. So many investors try to come up with 10 different ways to do it. In my opinion, if they're truly a motivated seller, the creative financing offer really makes sense. And it's the only way to truly help them out of that situation without them reaching into their pocket and paying at closing to do a deal. Step number 3, you need to clearly identify your motivated seller's needs. All sellers have wants, but in the end, you need to focus on the needs. Sellers always say, I want this, I want that. If they're truly motivated, if you find out what their need in that property is, you will get a great deal, especially with creative financing. Don't focus on the wants, focus on the needs. If they're truly motivated, this is how it works. Do not try to force a non-motivated seller into a creative financing. It is a recipe for disaster. You want to focus on their needs, listen to their wants, but what do they need to get out of this deal? What do they need to get out of selling their property? You want to hear is I just want to get out of it alive. I just want to break even. I just want to walk away without paying at the closing table. That's where a great creative financing deal is developed. So creative financing, you must know their needs. Step number 4. So we already know their needs. It works with it. We're in a creative financing offer. Now you have to identify your motivated seller's intentions on where they're going. What direction are they going? What do I mean? Where are they moving to? Are they moving out of state? Are they staying in state? Are they moving out of the country? Are they just tired of banks and never wanting a mortgage again? Are they going to be renting? Do they want to get a mortgage in the next 2 or 3 years? You need this piece of information so you can make a truly creative financing offer. Some of my favorites, you guys know probates. If it's a probate, it's a no-brainer. The person on the mortgage is no longer around, so it's actually a really easy offer because there's no risk to their credit. You usually can just ride the mortgage out and they don't care about cashing you out. If the person is going to buy another house and they're going to wait 2 or 3 years, you're probably going to have to make your subject to offer on a creative financing deal based on when they want to get a new mortgage, because it's hard for them to carry that mortgage and get another mortgage. You can do it, but it complicates the deal. Say, for instance, your motivated seller is leaving the country and like they're going to South America for good. That's an easy one. You can ride that mortgage out. Say there's 20 years left on it. You can just take over the mortgage and pay it. What I mean by this is you really need to know where your motivated sellers are going when you do creative financing offers. It will help you structure your offer deal. If they need that mortgage closed out in 3 years, you need to know that. Why? Because if they need to get another mortgage, they're going to want to know you cash it out, because I promise you they'll be calling you in 3 years. So identify where your motivated seller's going when you're offering a creative financing offer. Okay, and the last step, number 5, we're going to do what we do, trial closes. Use this technique and it works really, really well. And it takes pressure off of you feeling like you have to close them. And you can also turn the question around on them. So you're going to use what we call what if statements. So Mr. Seller, what if I could go ahead and take over your mortgage, go ahead and pay all the bills, I'll pay the 2 back payments, I'll go ahead and fix that busting pipe, I'll take care of everything, we can get this done in the next 2 weeks, and what if I could just get you $3,000 at the closing table? That way I'm giving you money as opposed to you bringing money to the closing table. Is that something that would work for you, or do you just want to pay money at the closing table with a realtor? And shut up. Now, the key is here, when you do, is that something that would work for you? Pause. And then I like to just make that like awkward, or do you just want to go ahead and write a check at the closing table and do it the traditional way? And shut up. You should already know what the outcome is going to be, but by you kind of doing either offer, it takes pressure off the deal. You can also test it. If they overreact to you, you can now go in and do a final close and just put out your offer there. But the what if basically allows you to test the waters on a creative financing deal, and you can listen to the reaction. The worst case scenario, you say, well, I didn't think you'd go for that anyways. And then you could try to logically figure it out. You might have to go back and revisit them to see if it's going to work. Guys, remember, use these 5 steps. They're very simple. It works really well. If you do not go through this 5-step process, you are going to struggle with creative financing. You need to know that. So after step 5, you can do your final negotiations, because you know how long you can do the subject to for. If it's a subject to, if they own the property outright, you can find out how long you can do a creative financing deal. You know where they're going. If they're staying in state, they're staying local, they're getting another mortgage, they're leaving the country. The 5 steps allows you to ask all the qualifying questions to put a creative financing in a deal. After step 5, you just come down to the final terms, and that's between you and the seller and agreeing it. Guys, if you stick to this 5-step process, it works really well. I've never done a creative financing deal without walking through the 5 steps. So here's what I want you to do. Walk through the 5 steps, rehearse it. You can go back, you can replay this video. It's really straightforward. And make sure you give them a cash offer up front before you go into a creative financing offer situation. Remember, it's like a funnel. You need to walk them through. I offer a cash deal even when I know it's not a possibility. Why? Because I want to get it out of the table. It also helps you set up your creative financing offer. Because if they can't do it, and you already know they can't do it. So say they owe $100,000 and you offer $60,000. They go, well, I owe $100,000. I can't do that. I go, wow. Okay, well, have you explored other options? And then I'm going to go in and start talking about the creative financing. And I'm going to walk through steps 2, 3, 4, and 5 to walk down the funnel, get into a trial close, and then do the final negotiation. So it's really not that complicated. You just walk through it. And I promise you, you'll be able to structure a great creative financing deal. Don't go for the throat right off the bat and go, hey, if I just take over your mortgage or I see you know the property outright, can I do this? Ask the questions, walk through it, refer back to this video. It's a simple 5-step process. It works on every type of creative financing offer, and it will allow you systematically to walk through to make the right offer. And guys, please remember, okay? We are wholesalers. We are real estate investors. We don't do deals with people unless they're highly motivated. The motivation's got to be right there. Sometimes, guys, by the way, the motivation is in the property. Sometimes it's in the seller. And in the perfect world, it doesn't happen all the time. The property's motivated means it needs a lot of work. It needs help. It's vacant. It's run down. And the seller's in financial duress. They're behind on payments and they need help. So if both of them come together, it works well. There has to be motivation in the property or the seller, or you are not going to get a good deal. Last but not least, guys, remember, in creative financing, you need cooperative sellers. If they're difficult, they're fighting you on it, odds are the creative financing solution is not going to work because you need their full cooperation to make a successful deal work. So guys, do me a favor. Tell me if you're doing creative financing. Do you walk through the 5 steps? Do you guys do creative financing? Yes, you started out wholesaling, but I promise you, at some point you'll come across a creative financing deal. And my goal here and Zach's goal is to make sure you have the tools in your war chest to be able to take that deal down. As long as you build good rapport, don't worry. If it takes you a couple meetings with them, it's fine. Go through the 5 steps, ask them the questions, and then reach out to us. We'd be happy to help you put a deal together. It's really not that hard. You'll be super surprised how easy a creative financing deal is. It just comes down to how much money you're going to give them and what your exit strategy is on the creative financing deal. So guys, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share this link with someone that you think would benefit from it. And this is Rick Ginn with Flip with Rick, and I'll see you in the next video.